what's up everybody? Brandon Jameson here with another video, and this time we're going to talk about chords, chord theory, how they're made, and how chords make up an entire key. And if you want to know how to play songs by ear, and if you want to know how to listen to songs and be able to pick up chord progressions so that you can play them a lot easier, or if you just want to write music of your own, this is all going to be really, really important stuff that you got to understand. So let's get right into it. All right, guys, let's get into how chords are built and how keys are built. And we're going to use the C major scale as our reference scale here. So you see those notes there, and you see the intervals here once again are the root, the major second, major third, perfect fourth, perfect fifth, major sixth, major seven, and the root again. And here is the C major chord. This is our one chord. So the one chord is the first chord, the root chord of the key that you're in. It's a major scale, so we know that this has got to be a major chord. So here's your C major chord, played by playing C, E, and G. So those are your notes. The intervals of these notes are a root, a major third, and a fifth. So we have a root, a third, and a fifth to make up this chord right here. So let's break down and see how the intervals make up different chords. So here's chords. Here's some basic rules about chords. They're made by stacking thirds. You take a root note and you stack a third. It could be a major third or a minor third. It just depends on the scale. And then you get another note and you take and stack another third on top of that, and that's going to give you your fifth, and then you're going to end up with your chord. Now, you got to use scale tones. If you're in the key of C major, then only the notes in C major, the notes that are diatonic to C major, are available to be chosen when you're stacking the thirds. So they have to be scale tones when you do this. And if you're having a triad, triads are three notes. You need a root, a third, and a fifth to have a triad. So you take a root, you stack a third onto it, whether it's a major or minor, to give you a third. Take that note, stack another third onto it, it's going to give you your fifth. And all together, you're going to have a triad. So let's put this into action. First, we'll take our one chord, the C chord. We know it's a C major. We know that it's C, E, and G, but let's figure out how the intervals work out to make this happen. So we've got the C here, and we stack a minor third onto it. Minor third is a step and a half away, and that gives us a D sharp. And D sharp is not in the key of C. So we take a major third, and that's two steps away, and that takes us out to E. And E is in the key of C major, so we've got to go with the major third because it gives us a scale tone. Then from E, we need to get our fifth. So we stack a major third on top of E, two steps away. That gave us a G sharp, which is not in the key of C. So we've got to try something else, like a minor third. So the minor third is 1.5 steps away. That gives us a G, and G is in the key of C major, and so we can use this G. And so that gives us C, E, and G. And because E is a major third away from the root C, that makes this a major chord. Let's try it again with the two chord. The two chord is a D chord of some sort. We know that the root is D, but what are these other two notes? So let's stack some thirds on them and find out. So here's our D right here inside of all the notes, and we put a major and a minor third on there to see what we get. So check out the major third, two steps away, and that gives us a F sharp, and that is not in the key of C. So we've got to try our minor third. That gives us 1.5 steps, takes us to the F. The F is in the key of C major, so we've got to go with the F. So here's our F right there. Then on top of that, we stack a minor and a major third on top of the F. If you look at the minor third, 1.5 steps away, gives us a G sharp. G sharp is not in the key of C major. So we'll scratch the minor third. Let's try our major third. That takes us 2 steps up to the A. And so it's got to be A. And so we've got a D, an F, and an A. And because the F here is a minor third away from D, that makes this a minor chord. Let's try another one. So the E chord in the key of C major is played by E, G, and B. And we find that by taking a minor third and putting that on the root, which is E. That takes us out to G, step and a half. Now notice if I had used a major third right here, I would have went out 2 steps to the G sharp, which is not in the key of C major. So I had to go with the minor third. Then from there, I've got my G. I stack a major third on top of G. That gets me 2 steps away to the B, and that gives me E, G, and B. And because it's a minor third between E and G, and this is a minor third, that makes this whole chord a minor chord. So this is an E minor. Let's try another one. The F chord is played with F, A, and C. And we take F here, stack a major third onto it, and you get A. 2 steps away, you get A. And then from A, you stack a minor third onto it, and you get C. Step and a half away, you get the C, so your fifth is C. F, A, C, and because the A is a major third away from its root, that's going to make this a major chord. Also notice something else. With all these chords, we've stacked a major third and a minor third, or it's been a minor third and a major third. But in every case up until now, we have been stacking either a minor with a major or a major with a minor, but you can't have, or we haven't had a double minor or a double major. So notice that they kind of alternate between each other. You have to have a major third and a minor third in most of these cases. So let's look at the G chord. G chord is G, B, and D. So you've got your G here, and I've stacked a major third onto it to get a scale tone of B. So B is our third, and then from B, we stretch over here, we stack this minor third, and it stretches across and hits this D. So we've got G, B, and D. And because B, right here, is a major third away from our root G, that makes this a major chord. So the G chord is a G major chord. And again, we've alternated again. We've got the major third with a minor third stacked on top of one another. Almost done, guys. Here's the A chord. It's played by playing A, C, and E. So this is an A, and it is a minor third away from C, which is the third. So here's our third right here. And then from C, we stack, so here's C again over here, we stack a major third on a C to get us 2 steps away to play the E. So you've got A, C, and E. And because C is a minor third away from A, this makes this a minor chord. So A is a minor chord. Okay, guys, so B is pretty interesting. Let's check this one out. If I take my B, which is my root, and it's here, and I stack both a minor and a major third, and you see them stretching out over here over the C, you've got the minor third and the major third. Notice that the major third takes us to D sharp, and that's not a scale tone. We can't use that because it's not in the scale of C major. So we gotta go with the minor, and that's gonna give us D, and D is right there. So we've got B, D, and now we need to find our 5. So we take and stack a major third on top of our D, and that takes us out here to F sharp. And so that's a problem because F sharp is not in the scale of C, but we're stacking minor with major, what we've done in the past, right? We've always alternated minors and majors and majors and minors, but this time the major third isn't working. It's giving us an F sharp, and we can't have an F sharp. We need a scale tone. So we've got to swap this out for a minor third. Gives us F. So we've got F here, but that makes this chord interesting because what we have here is a root, a minor third, and then this note right here, which isn't quite the 5th because it's not far enough away to be a 5th, right? We just stacked a minor third on top of a minor third. So that gets us, it's a half step away from what 5 should be. So it's actually got what's called a flatted 5th. So it's a root, a minor third, and a flatted 5th. And so this chord right here is actually not a major chord or a minor chord. It's a diminished chord. So this B chord is a B diminished. And so that's the major key. And we figured out the C major key, but this actually applies to every major key that there is. The first chord we knew was major, and now we know why. The 2 chord is a minor chord. The 3 chord is a minor chord. The 4 chord is major. 5 chord is also major. 6 chord is minor. And then we just figured out in the last slide that the 7 chord is diminished. Remember, root, minor third, stacked on top of a minor third. You can call that a flatted 5. So let's apply what we just learned about the major key to this chord progression right here. A 1, 5, 6, 4 chord progression in C major would be C major, G major, A minor, and F major. And if you have your keyboard on or you're sitting by your piano and you play through this chord progression, you'll find that it sounds very, very, very familiar. And that's because it's in lots of songs. Lots of songs use this chord movement. It's very popular. In fact, it's the chord progression that the Axis of Awesome used to do all those songs they played with just the same 4 chords. This is that chord progression, and now you know it. So what would a 2-5-1 be in the key of E flat major? And this is a bonus question. I'm not going to give this one to you guys. If you want to figure it out, take E flat major, right? Take E flat and plug it in here, and then place all your scale degrees up here, right? All the scale degrees from E flat major, and that'll tell you what a 2-5-1 is in the key of E flat major. So if you guys do that and you figure it out, go ahead and throw it in the comments. So here's the minor key. And we're not going to go through all the labor pains of going through one interval at a time. We know how to stack thirds, and we know how to figure out which chord is going to be which. So rather than go through all those pains again, I'm just going to lay it out here just like this. This is what the minor key is made up of. The 1 chord is going to be a minor chord. The 2 chord is a diminished chord. So this happens again in the minor key, but this happens on the 2nd scale degree this time. The 3 chord is going to be major. The 4 chord is minor. The 5 chord is minor, and then the 6 and the 7 chord are both major. So here's another bonus question for you guys right here. What would a 1-4-5-1 chord progression be in the key of F sharp minor? And again, if you want to figure out what that is, just take F sharp and plug it in here, and then put the F sharp minor scale in all these little spots. Plug those in, and then it'll tell you which chord qualities those notes will be, and you'll figure out what this chord progression is. So here's some other popular chord progressions, and this is partially homework and partially just an application for what you just learned. You've got all these chord progressions here: 1, 6, 4, 5, 1, 5, 6, 3, so on and so on and so on. Try all these chord progressions, try them in different keys, and get a feel for them, right? This is how music is made, and chord progressions are kind of the basis for which music rests on. Now, there are popular chord progressions, there are more complex chord progressions, there's jazzy chord progressions, and chord progressions that are popular in different genres of music. So as you play through these, what you'll find is that they have a particular sound to them. Some of them kind of sound like blues, some of them sound more like pop. But the point is to play with these and get a sense for how they feel and how they sound, and then try to make some of your own. And once you make some of your own, also go on the internet and look up some tabs of songs that you like, figure out the chords, figure out the key, and then you'll be able to reverse engineer it and say, okay, it's one of these chord progressions, and that'll give you a big framework, a better framework from which to discover more music. And you can think of music in terms of chord progressions instead of just memorizing, every single chord for every single song, which is a lot harder than just saying, oh, it's a 1, 6, 4, 5 in the key of D. So play through these chord progressions, play through some other ones, make up some of your own, extend these out and see what you can come up with, see what interesting stuff you got. And if you come up with something interesting and you want to share it, go ahead and throw it down in the comments. I'm always all ears for all that kind of stuff. So with all that said, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of it. I'll see you in the next video where we're going to start talking about extensions and 7th and 9th and 11th chords. So we're going to start with that R&B sound, that soul sound. It's going to be really fun. So look forward to seeing you in that video, and I will see you soon.